All right, hey, what's going on, guys? One of the saddest things I'm hearing right now is a lot of people are writing others off as conspiracy theorists, and they don't realize the difference between what a conspiracy theory is and what a conspiracy reality is. And somebody in the comments had said that the difference between that is a 1 year delta, and I thought that was pretty good, and that was pretty funny in a way. But I did want to emphasize a few things because a lot of people, and I've been talking about this before, is that they don't realize and they don't understand the subject matter, or they don't understand the topic deep enough. And if they don't, and if it sounds too far-fetched, then they write it off as a conspiracy theory. And sadly, a lot of people are getting information from places and people that are just labeling others as conspiracy theorists. And if you think about even Jesus, if you think about the movement of even Christianity and what Christ did, you could even say a long time ago, that's a conspiracy. Jesus, his death and resurrection, it's a conspiracy. And again, it's because a lot of people, they're writing it off, they're mocking it, and they're looking at something that they're unfamiliar with. And they're not realizing what is the delta between what is a reality versus what is just a bunch of thoughts or even a theory, essentially. And so that's why a lot of people right now that are labeling things, they're not realizing or researching something in depth to be able to fully understand something. And this goes on for so many things right now. And if you think about if you understand even the Wall Street movements right now with the Redditors and the financial realm, there's a lot there that people are saying is a conspiracy. But if you dig deeper, you see that there's a lot of collusion, there's a lot of evil, there's a lot of things going on even in the financial world. And this goes for many areas. You talk about, if you saw Seaspiracy, the conspiracy for, the sea, food and things like that, and all the fish and all that. There's so many areas where you can label it as conspiracy until you find out and realize that it is, in fact, a truth. It is something that a lot of people are familiar with and they know the data on or the research on, and they're able to explain it. But because a lot of people are so guarded and they're so pushed off and put off by the fact that a lot of people are labeling something conspiracy, they're refraining from doing more research and doing more digging. And I've talked about this many times about the information age that we live in, the misinformation, and being able to battle and to really discern yourself, the truth behind all these different things, so that you cannot be bogged down by the arguments and just the bullets that are flying across the battlefield, but rather that you would have an understanding of the actual information, the subject itself, by even just doing a little bit of research, and not by reading somebody else's opinion of something, looking up a Wikipedia article about something, or being so quick to hear from a mainstream news article or somebody quote unquote reputable. But really you are asking the Lord in prayer. You're asking the Lord, what is it that's going on? Why is it that a lot of people are talking about these things and they are so adamant about what they believe is true and not? And instead of writing somebody off, instead of looking at somebody and saying, man, you are just a conspiracy theorist, you are just this extreme radical, whatever you want to call it, you're just this uneducated, hillbilly or country or whatever it is that you want to label on there. And just because somebody may or may not fit your description of what might be a successful or a reputable or an honorable person, just because they speak the truth doesn't mean that you write them off as somebody that is, a crazy person or a nut, right? And so that's why right now I've been talking about and been advocating for that all the more in this day and age, that you have to be able to discern, to be able to go to the Lord in truth. And as much as you're laughing at everybody else and you're smearing them and you're jeering at them and you're doing all these different things, you will also see and you'll be humbled at many different things, whether it's in this life or at the end of days, of what is actually is true. And so I just want to encourage a lot of you guys that if you are in that space and you are being mocked or ridiculed, if you are in that place where you feel like you know something about a lot of things, whether it's in politics, whether it's in social movements, whether it's in finance, whether it's in some subject or some topic that a lot of people are writing off and hiding, right? Because there's always two sides to a coin. You got people that have something to gain. You have people that have something to lose. And there's others that are just trying to keep their status quo. They're trying to be good about making sure that they retain their power, they retain their narrative, their story, and all these things. And you're being played, right? And so that's why you have to really dig deeper. You have to be able to be objective. You have to be able to step back and ask, why is it that these things are happening? Because all the more, once a lot of things come out, and once more and more things, whether it's documentaries, whether it's news, you're going to look at some of these things and say, wow, there was just basically a delta until I realized that it was true. And people said it was a conspiracy, that COVID and some pandemic was going to happen, and that the whole world was going to be shut down. That sounds like crazy talk that happened 4 or 5 years ago. And look what happened, right? There was a delta, there's a time lapse. And so you can't be laughing at people who basically are more informed or educated or know something and write them off because you don't know something about it. And you feel like the only safe way that you can comprehend and cope with something is to say something is a conspiracy. And again, a lot of people are going to group me with a lot of different things. They're going to group other people with all these things. And then just because I say the word conspiracy, just because I say, these things, doesn't mean it's everybody, right? Some things may not be a conspiracy. Some things may be a conspiracy, but because a lot of people, their judgment and their discernment is so limited, they want to be able to quickly process something. They think they're too educated for their own good, right? They're so arrogant and prideful. It's not going to help them to really sift through, even within the conspiracy, if there is one that is false and if there is actually one that's true, right? So I know people personally who have written off everything that is labeled, misinformation or conspiracy, all these things as these crazy nuts, right? And they just want to have nothing to do with it. For those kinds of people, it's going to be even harder for you to accept and understand any topic, whether it's everything from COVID or, just so many things, politics and all this stuff, what's happened with even things that are neutral, right? Like seafood, right? And fish. It's going to be hard for people to accept those things because they're in a mindset of being defensive and pushing away. And so, look, again, there's a lot of things coming out. There's a lot of people that are still stuck in that way. But I want to bring this just to light again, because the more that I bring it up and push it, the more people are going to get curious. They're going to research and they're going to try to understand that this world is bigger than just one layer, just meaning that what someone says is true doesn't necessarily mean that is true. Just because somebody was assassinated or somebody was killed or committed suicide or all these different things doesn't mean that's what the truth is. And so there's deeper layers, deeper things behind things. It's just that not everything can come to light. Not every piece of information can be brought up, whether it's due to the protection of society, national security, international security, or whatever it is, right? Sometimes it doesn't come up, but other times, if time passes, you will see that it comes to light. If you also do your research and you really dig deep, you'll also see that it is true. And so don't believe what a lot of people say initially. Take it with a grain of salt. I've been talking about that. And for you to survive in this next chapter, in this next phase, and even just in the last couple decades, you have to really be able to sort through information well, because there's a lot of disinformation, there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of things that are happening to dissuade you and to move you away from your healthy relationship with Christ. And it's also not enough to be able to just say, get in your closet and just say Jesus, 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 and do nothing about engaging and approaching and interacting with the world. It starts with understanding properly what's going on, to be in one mind of what the facts are. And even though we may never know the full details of something, to be able to have a healthy skepticism and to be able to not write people off as crazy people and not to be divided in this way, because Satan loves to divide and provide chaos like that. And if you are so easily succumbing to these things and being emotional and being angry and all these things. It's not going to bode well. And so that's why, again, I keep bringing it up. Things are coming to pass, a lot of prophetic words that I've said, that others have said, and many other things are changing right now as we speak. So just want to warn you to get your senses up, your spiritual senses, to have discernment, to have continual checking in with the Lord, and then to be able to do your own research and facts and be defensive about what you first hear in the world. Otherwise, you're just going to eat it up. You're going to eat up what they say, what people say, and it's not going to help you. And so I just wanted to bless you guys with this and encourage you guys. Please continue praying. A lot of things coming out as time passes. So God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.